Hello and welcome to this edition of Tips and Tricks. Now today I'm going to be talking about the fact that bass don't nibble baits. I mean, it's kind of funny. Bass don't nibble baits, guys. I'm telling you. Bluegill might nibble baits, or other type of panfish, usually even crappie don't nibble baits because they have a big enough mouth. But it doesn't matter if it's this size or it's this size or even bigger. Bass don't nibble baits. And I say this because, well, one of my friends that I fish with, he always says that, oh, it was nibbling it, it was nibbling it, it was nibbling it, but it wouldn't take it. And I just saw a video too where a guy was fishing and he kept saying that too, like, oh, I don't know what's up. They're just like nibbling it, but they're not taking it. So let me kind of try and describe what it is when you think bass are nibbling your bait. Now this is mostly soft plastics or jigs or things like that. Usually with like spinner baits, something like that, yeah, they might swipe at it, they might just grab the end, you get like a short strike or something. It's not really nibbling, it's just like a quick thing. But I'm talking about the nibbling when people are fishing soft plastics, like drop shots or a Texas rig or a jig or something. The reality is, a lot of times when you feel a fish and you're pulling on it and you just feel these little sort of, it's not really a tap, it's not really like a hit, it's just sort of these little sharp little like kind of things on it. And sometimes you might feel like a little weight when you're doing it, or it just feels something funny, or you kind of pull and your line just kind of slacks each time, but every time you like do that, you kind of feel these little, they feel like nibbles, but they're actually not nibbles. What it is that fish will usually have this thing in its mouth, and it doesn't matter what size or anything. It could be a bigger bait, smaller bait. It has it in its mouth, and it might be swimming at you, or it might be swimming slightly to the side or something. And as you're kind of pulling on it like that, since it's in its mouth, as you're pulling on it, it's kind of moving it more towards the front of its mouth, and it's trying to swallow this thing. So every time you do that, it's kind of like going and trying to reorient it to put it back into its mouth. And then people go, well, but no, because I feel them do that nibbling, and then I feel the bite, and a lot of times I'll set the hook and I'll miss them. And this is another thing that I say a lot of people. The same feeling you get when they suck a bait in is actually the same feeling you will get when they spit it out. So a lot of times what those nibbles are is it's actually in their mouth, and if you actually just set the hook, you'd catch them. But since you're pulling on it and pulling on it and you're waiting not to feel the nibbles while they're trying to actually get this thing in, while you're still kind of pulling it the other way, is suddenly they'll spit it, and that's when you'll feel what you think is a thump. So you're like, oh, he was nibbling for a while, and then I felt him bite it, and I set the hook and he wasn't there. Well, that's because what you felt, you didn't actually feel the initial bite. He already had it in his mouth. The little nibbles was him kind of reorient it, trying to swallow it. And then what you thought was a bite was him spitting it back out. I mean, it's just, if you're pulling something in, or you kind of like I said, it's like if you feel a spongy kind of weight, or it's just kind of like you can get your line tight and then it drops, but as it's dropping, you kind of feel these little nibbles or something, and you pull. It's like the fish has it and he's just cruising with you. And so as you're kind of getting to the point you're pulling on it, it's him sitting there basically munching on it and kind of reorient to try and swallow it. So that's just kind of, I don't know, I just found it funny because my friend has done that, and then I saw this video where the guy's saying the same thing, that nibble on it, and then he gets a bite and he misses him, or he finally kind of feels a bite and just barely hooks him and they get off. And it's because they don't nibble baits, guys. I mean, it doesn't matter the size, they have a big enough mouth. I mean, if you feel nibbles and kind of like a little short thump in that, that's probably a bluegill or something grabbing one of the things on this, or just having it halfway in or something. But it's when you feel these little sort of, I mean, just think of it in its mouth going like this. That's what you'd feel was. But anyway, it's just, I don't know why people think bass nibble on baits. They don't. It's usually, it's in their mouth and they're just trying to reorient it, or they're, what I say, munching on it. And like I said, then suddenly you get the actual feel of bite, which is them spitting it, not taking it in. So that's just sort of this. I mean, I keep laughing, but it's just kind of funny when I'm fishing with my friend. He keeps saying, oh, he's nibbling on, he's nibbling on. And I'm like, no, that fish had it for like 10 minutes and you just didn't even know it. You thought, but anyway, I hope this helps. Until next time.